career objective, okay, should specify this. Beside the career goal, we should have the education, definitely, the work experience, if we have activities, honors, and any special skills we might have. We will be discussing this all in a minute. Are you doing something there?
Yeah.
So put the next slide, please. Can you do that?
Can't I do both in one?
What do you mean?
Like write a CV, then write all my professional, academic, or goals, education, work experience?
Well, more or less in the CV and the resume, we will have almost the same kind of elements. But as I say, depending on what you're applying for. If you're applying for academia, then you go for the CV. If you're applying for industry, like the big 4 companies, for example, you have to go for the resume. And I would say, like, in some places, they do not differentiate. For example, Americans, they would go for resume. European countries, they would go for the CV, and they mean the same. But as you know, professional English communication, you know, these are technical terms, and there are differences. So that's why I'm trying to tell you what the differences are. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Nader. So what are the main sections of the resume? So now you are ready, you have a piece of paper in front of you, or probably your mobile, and we have to start drafting our own resume. So resume would definitely, the first thing we have is the contact information, the objective statement, or we call it the career objective, education, experience, skills, honors, activities, and references, or sometimes we call them referees. These are not references that we use the sources like the APA. References, it means people who can recommend you. We might call them references, sometimes in other contexts we call them referees, okay? Now, next please. Next. Nader. Okay, no, you went back. Next, okay. Now, what we mean by contact information section? The contact information, it's about you. I mean, as we said in the email, I'm talking to 217 students, and I will explain that to you. When we talk about contact information, it means that all the information that, provide info about myself, like my name in full, okay, my title, and you have to give mail address, email address, telephone number. Why we should have all of this in our resume? Exactly. This is the obvious. I'm stating the obvious. Because if the employer wants to contact you, you have to make his or her life easy by providing all the information to be able to contact you. The information should be accurate, okay, and true. Don't make up any address, because in that case, the employer won't get in touch with you. Now, we can think about 2 types of addresses. I might have my university address, and I can have also my home address. And it could look like this. This is the info we have. So if you have, some people have websites or any other modes of contact, like for example, Twitter or accounts or whatever, you can have that also. Because in that case, they can go into your account and check what type of person you are. All of this would indicate information about you. Please. Okay, please. Okay, so in that case, your name should go in the middle. And your name, please, we write our name in full. First name, middle, it means father's name, and a family name. Why we need to have the father's name? In our culture that there is a lot of chances to have like 2 people called, just an example, Muhammad Saba'ain, for example. Because like probably, this is, I'm just giving the name of my nephew. Muhammad, for example, because we know that Muhammad is a very common name in our culture, and the family names usually like that, it is very, very big family, and there are a lot of chances to have the same name. Okay, for example, my father's name is Muhammad Saba'ain, my nephew is Muhammad Saba'ain, my cousin is Muhammad Saba'ain. I'm just giving simple examples. So by having, for example, the father's name is Mazen, or for example, I don't know, Fuad, then we are differentiating between people. Yeah, so we have to give the middle. And if you don't want to have the middle in full, probably middle initial would make a difference. Middle initial, it means the first letter capitalized followed by dot. Okay? And this is about the contact information. Thank you. Now, we need to set off that piece of part of this resume from the other major sections. We can use any graphic, or it could be like just a small line dividing your contact information from the other sections of your resume. Why this is so? It's just to add, it's formatting and would add to the readability of the resume. There is nothing other than that. It is formatting purposes. Now, what should come after the contact information in your cases? What do you think? Very good. It should be the, sorry, you're controlling that? Yeah. Okay. So we should have the objective statement. As I said, it could be called objective statement, or we can call it career goal or professional objective. And what do we have in that statement? By the way, it is very, very important. First of all, it's a fragment rather than complete sentence. And you should know that in the CV, we never write complete sentences. This is the only time when we say go for fragments, okay? But in emails, letters, definitely you're not allowed, but in the CV. And it should be sometimes it runs to 3 lines, as long as I'm giving the information that I need to provide in that career objective. What do you think I should tell the reader in that career objective?
What are you thinking about?
What I read, okay, first of all, like the position that I want to apply to. Sometimes you will be, you have a job ad and you are applying for a specific job. So in that case, you have to say, applying to the position of, you have to have it advertised on your website, and then you have to follow it with a statement about why, like how you meet the job qualifications, highlighting the skills that you have and contribution to the place that you want to join, okay? So in that case, next slide, please. So if I take this example, an internship allowing me to utilize my knowledge and expertise in different areas. This is a fragment, okay? It doesn't have any grammatical mistake, but I would say, do you think it is specific enough to inform your reader about what you really want? No, it raises many questions about. Remember when we said precision? You have to be precise, you have to be specific in whatever you're saying. So it doesn't tell me exactly what kind of internship I'm looking for. It doesn't tell me like what kind of knowledge I have, or probably the expertise that I have in different areas. So all these words are not specific enough. So an objective statement, a good objective statement, next slide, should tell me what positions I'm applying for, what are my main qualifications, what is the career goal I'm applying to, professional identity, and how can I contribute to the company. Again, to persuade your reader to do something, we have to highlight a benefit. If I don't have a benefit, then why should he or she hire me? Okay, so this is we keep in mind. Always address the need of your reader in order to select you. Next slide. So this is what we said, emphasize your qualifications who appeals for the reader. And as I said before, we have to tailor, this is my microphone. We have to tailor each statement, okay, according to the job that I'm applying to. Can we get the other slide? And we have here examples. So, for example, if you don't know, you're not applying for a specific job, but you want to try your own luck with a certain company, and you start job hunting and to apply to send your resume to that company. So in that case, you don't have a specific job, but you have what you know, okay, and what you can do. This, for example, we say a recent digital art graduate looking to secure an entry-level position. So we're talking about entry-level position. Your major, a graphic designer, that will allow me to use the skills I acquired in that college, okay, and to build a successful career in design. could be looking to obtain an entry-level mechanical engineering position in the energy industry. I specified which industry. And to utilize my knowledge in the field by performing a variety of duties and earn practical experience. Or it could be looking for an entry-level customer service position with VTech Incorporated, I named the company, which will allow me to utilize my excellent communication skills to help answer clients' questions and solve their problems. So these are really good career objective statements where it includes, you are specific enough to tell the employer what you really want, what is the position, what you can do, okay, and how you can serve. Right? And as you see, there are fragments. Fragments are not complete sentences, as you see. It's not like I am looking, it's looking to obtain. Clear? Yes? Okay. Now, after the objective, we should start with our education. Why I'm saying here your education, although I'm saying you're developing your resume and probably we have to think about professional skills. Simply because, in your cases, what is the most impressive accomplishment that you have? It is like their education. Simply because we cannot say, although some people might have a part-time job, but probably your part-time job is not in the field you're specializing in. So in that case, it won't be the strength or the best strength you have to lead your resume with. For that reason, we start with our education. Later on, as we said, as you accumulate experience and so on, probably you might, if you don't pursue higher education further, probably you have to start with your own experience, okay? So, under education, what do we have to include? What do we emphasize, okay? What do you think we have to emphasize? Definitely the schooling with training, the name of the university. You have to persuade the employer that your educational background matches the job that you are definitely applying to. And I have always in mind, whenever I am developing my own resume, I have to keep in mind how to impress my employer. How to persuade him or her that I'm the right person for the job, okay? I need to make my resume stand out among the heap of resumes probably that have been submitted to that job. So we have one thing I would like to say, that organizing this information, we have different ways of organization. Now the most common is the reverse chronology. What do you mean by reverse chronology? Most recent backwards. So we start from, for example, in that case, in your education, you have the university education, and then if you want to go to high school. Especially we tell the students who are preparing their resumes for the internship, is to, because you don't have still your BS or BA degree, to have your academic status there, like what you are, your level, whether you are senior or a junior plus the major, but to include also grade 12 in the high school. Later on, after you graduate, you don't have to include that schooling thing, okay? But this would add something to give the employer an idea about like your background in your secondary classes. Now, so you have to say the highest level, the school you attended, the location, so we give the address, we say Mishref, for example, Lebanon. Expected date of graduation, or if you graduated, definitely you have to have that. All the degrees earned or still you're pursuing. And if you have, for example, the grade point average is very important, because if we don't write the grade point average, then we are informing and sending an implied message to the employer that I am an average person. For that reason, those high achievers feel proud, brag, and have your GPA, cumulative GPA on your CV. So, but if you are a satisfactory student, an average student, you don't have to have it, because you will be emphasizing to the reader that you are an average person. Yes?
If instead, this is the first time I hear that you have to include it.
Because they are not haven't graduated yet. And it makes even, you know, it gives an idea about the student that person was one of the top students.
So if we just look with write with distinction.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, yes. That with this, but remember, numbers tell more about what we mean by with distinction, because this distinction differs from one university to another. So usually, to be more specific, we go for numbers. And you say like it is 3.5 over 4, let's say, or probably 85, okay? Or and we can do one thing. We can differentiate between my major GPA and the cumulative GPA, because a lot of the students might have their GPA in the major courses higher, because generally, you know, general education sometimes, if they don't put effort, it pulls this down. So if we go to the other slide, so if I say like giving an example from BA in English, this is similar to my background. If I say that this is I have a BA in English, graduation December 2007, GPA 3.4, and definitely the name of the university, Purdue, and giving the address. Would that be sufficient? What do you say? What's missing?
That's the university accreditation.
If there is accreditation, you can say that. What else? But what else? What is a BA in English?
Bachelor arts.
I know bachelor, yeah, bachelor of arts in English. But you should know, so probably I chose something probably you don't know about it. But under English, we can talk about English language, we can talk about English literature, we talk about like writing. So you have to be more specific. Like, say like bachelor, a BS in engineering, would be that sufficient?
No.
No, because in engineering you have different branches. So that's why, the next slides, okay, you have to talk about all of this, go to the next slide. So in that case, this would be more comprehensive and giving more details by saying, I have BA in professional writing, and the name of the university, the date of graduation. I can talk about concentration. I appreciate your being attentive, please. My concentration, even under writing, we talk about professional writing, we can talk about academic writing. So we talk about like my concentration is business and technical writing. I can give example of the coursework that I have covered, because not all universities would have the same coursework. And this means that in your resumes, and I do remember for those who are going into co-op, you need to have a list of the courses, up to 5 courses, you think they are most related to the job that you are applying to. Because even if you are, let's say, saying senior in civil engineering, you're applying to, and your classmate would have the same thing, okay, but what differentiates you from your classmate could be some of the courses that you took under major electives, probably, that your classmate probably did not take, and these courses could be very, very related to the job that you're applying to. For that reason, this would be a plus to you by highlighting these courses. And talking about the projects probably you did, and the more relevant these projects to the job you're applying to, the more chances you're going to get. Okay, to be shortlisted for the interview. And here I have an example of like, what is my GPA versus the major GPA, and you can see that major GPA is higher, okay? Thank you. Now, where should we place this education? As I said, we keep in mind, I want to impress my employer, so I have to put it, because this is my strength right now, so I put it immediately after my career objective, okay? So what do you have in your notes? How many sections so far you have?
3.
3, what are they?
Contact information,
Yes.
objective statement, and education.
Great, okay. So, after education, what do you think we should have? Okay, go to it. Now, do you all work? Who doesn't work? All right, are you going to write experience in your resume? No, never ever. Never ever have experience and say none. If you do this, if using that, I don't have an experience. Okay, so don't do that. You imply by not mentioning experience. Okay, you imply the reader already knows that you don't have, but don't emphasize what you don't have. Emphasize what we have. So instead of that, if you don't have experience, probably you talk about volunteer work. Probably you talk about work study.
That's what.
Yeah, so I'm coming. So in that case, this is what I want. Those who have experience. Who works here? Okay, what kind of a job do you have? Sorry? Tutoring? Okay. What else? Others? Rawa?
I transcribe videos.
Wow, okay. How much is it related to your major?
It's not related.
Okay, it's not related. But in that case, are you going to list that or not?
It depends on what I'm applying for.
Okay, this is good answer. And also, I would say, the fact that I would say you have this job on your own, it gives the impression gives a plus to you also, because the employer in that case thinks that already you're balancing between your education and a part-time job, and probably this part-time job is giving you something like direct contact with people, and in that case you're developing good social skills and ability to deal with customers. So this would be, even if the job you're doing is not very related, you mention, I assume, like I advise to mention this, because it gives an idea about who you are. Okay? Yeah, okay. Now, so as we say, always we provide information to provide the prospective employer that your experiences make you qualified for the job. And again, help your resume stand out from others in the staff by constructing your professional identity. So what do we have under education, experience? We need to provide the name of the company and the location, okay? The name of the company and location. So Starbucks, for example, has different branches all around, so you have to name that which Starbucks, probably it is location in Saida or Beirut or wherever. You have to mention the title. What position do you have? If you are a cashier, you mentioned, I'm just giving an example. It's like you have to say the title. You have to mention, guys, do you have questions in the back? Boji, do you have questions? No. Okay. So I appreciate, please, being attentive, because you distract others. So in that case, we have, the date of the employment, when you started. If you did the work and you finished, you have to say the starting date and date. If it is still continuing till now, you have the start date with the hyphen next to it, it means it is still current. And the most important thing, to describe your duties. And these descriptions, okay, we will talk about them, they have to be very, very specific to tell exactly what you did or what are you still doing in that position. So, descriptions, next slide please. Okay, we said that we list volunteer positions, appointment, assistantship, like as I said, work study, or everything here under experience. So this is the activity I want you to brainstorm on that, to list anything you want to do, but we cannot do it for the sake of time. We go to this. Now, while you are doing your experience, you have to think about, you have to take the role of the journalist and ask yourself, okay, these questions like, who, with whom did you work? What did you perform? Where did your job fit into the organization? What goals were you trying to accomplish? When? What timelines were you working under? Like, if it is summer, for example, you say July until end of August. What procedures did you follow? So for that reason, after you do this, you come up with verb phrases that you have to use. If I use this description, planned activities, is it specific? No, because in that case, what is specific? What activities? Okay, when and for who? So better to go to the other slide and we compare. The column A, definitely, as you see, these activities or duties are not in parallel. What do you mean by parallelism? Using the same grammatical structure, okay, throughout the list. So when you say recording, material purchasing, prepared, responsible, I'm using a mix of participial, present participle, noun phrase, verb participial, past participle, and responsible adjectival phrase. No parallelism whatsoever. Look at column B and see the difference, how things become different. Recorded, conducted, prepared, processed. This is what we have to do. We have to list our duties in terms of verb phrases all through. Why we have to do this? Again, the content, okay, and again, the style and the formatting, all this package make our resume, okay, stand out from part of resumes, okay? Now, this is, for example, it's understated to say answered phones or wiped tables. Better to say acted as a liaison between clients and legal staff, created a healthy environment for customers, maintained a positive public image. More descriptive, okay, more informing to the employer and tells the employer what you did. Yeah, next. All right, now where should we put this experience section? As we said, if your experience is not much more impressive than education, then it should go after education. Keep in mind, the strongest, the most relevant, okay, go first. I want to impress. We come to skills. All right, do we have to mention skills? Yes. Technical? Who said technical? What do you mean by technical?
Like for the working experience, software that we use.
Okay, so you're talking about technical, you mean softwares or probably related to the major?
Probably you meant something like software.
On software, okay. Is that sufficient?
No, you should also have interpersonal skills too. Interpersonal skills too.
All right. I would say when you think about your skills, you have to think about 3 subcategories. Abdul Harim, sorry. Stand up. No, jump. You're snoozing. You have to write your resume. Okay, so under skills, what we have to do, we have to prepare them under 3 subcategories. You have to have, definitely, the field-related skills. And I say field-related skills, this means that the field that you are specializing in. For example, civil engineering, okay, you know that you have certain skills, Dr. Rinalda, that the civil engineer should have in his or her field. And these could be the most important for the person to have, and in order to tell the employer that I received good education, right? So usually these skills, where do we have them?
Usually I put them at the end.
No, I mean not in the CV. As a teacher, where do we put our skills, or the skills that the students should have?
In a section at the beginning.
Okay. In our syllabi,
Yes.
in our syllabi, the learning outcomes that you have in each course, these are skills that you need to have. Now, it could be that sometimes the learning outcomes are bits and parcels of the skill, but if you want, like the global thing, they should, by the time they graduate, they should have developed these skills. Okay. So, in that case, what I would suggest, go to your own advisors if you want, for example, depending, and ask him or her, what are the most important skills in your major? If you want to do the job yourselves, definitely go to the courses that you have taken and try to pull the most important skills from the syllabi. Because in our case, we have